Cultism still exists because government is involved. That's the truth.
Welcome back to Billions documentary film. Today let's talk about how cultism become the biggest problem in Nigeria. First of all, let's talk about cultism in a short brief. Okay, there is brotherhood fraternity all over the world. It doesn't matter which country you go. Let's say you go to the US. In some of the university, they have fraternity brotherhood. When you go to the UK also, it's the same. Canada, it's also the same. Also, some parts of Germany. But however, fraternity brotherhood history in Nigeria has like some certain groups. And there used to be like 4 groups. I'm not sure maybe if it has become something extremely bigger today. So, but let's just talk about the 4 basics one. There are some certain groups called the Black Axe, which is the Ayes. And there is also called the Ayes, which is the blue ones, the one with the birds. And also there is some certain one called Carniers, which is like the Sea Lord with the yellow beret. So, and also there used to be some certain ones, which is like the red one, pirate, called PC. So these are the 4 basic groups of the cultism that really exist in Nigeria, let's say back in times. But is cultism really embedded into Nigeria institution? The answer is no. But however, cultism has been used by a lot of Nigerian politicians to exploit Nigerian citizens through cultism. And also they put the cultists also in a position, like in a very vulnerable position for them to be in need of help so they could exploit them. Let's go back in time, like a very short story about Nigeria. So from 1966 to 1999, so Nigeria is living under military regime.
In the regions, there will be military government under a military governor, assisted by an advisor who is the last person to hold the office of the regional governor.
So that military regime ends in 1998. So when it comes to the military regime, what really happens in Nigeria during military regime? During the military regime, everybody can put their hands in their pocket.
I want you to bear in mind the need to emphasize self-discipline and leadership by good example. Begin by drawing public attention to little but important everyday manifestations of indiscipline.
And also, petrol is not as expensive as it is now. During the military regime, petroleum is not really, it's not like something super expensive in Nigeria. Even Peugeot was used to be made back in Nigeria, let's say as at 93, 94, for example. So there is a lot of international companies that are in Nigeria and makes even the country has a lot of value, let's say compares to like naira to dollar, for example. Back in, let's say 90s, 1 naira compares to $1. It's not really that really much. $1 to 60 naira, $1 to maybe 80 naira, then it become $1 to 100 naira, then became, $1 to now 700 naira. So, which is quite really a lot. But during the military regime, cultism do exist in Nigeria, but it's not in this crazy way like it is now. It is not something like you could come across anyone on the street back then during the military regime and just say, oh, this person is a cultist. And it takes something to really become a cultist back in time then. Because then you have to attend university and through some certain group of your people you do your things together, and those are the people you will become one of these fraternity brotherhood. But how did cultism become Nigeria's biggest problem now? Okay, these are the short stories about it. So at the end of the military regime in Nigeria, we have democracy, and a lot of Nigerian politicians, we know them, they are like a glutton. They just want everything all for themselves. So they took cultism into their own practice of politics. And how did they do that? So, because at the end of the military regime, cultism becomes something very easy and accessible for anybody. You don't have to go to university, or you don't have to even become anything. You don't even have to attend school before you become a cultist. Because back before, during the military regime, you can hardly find people. Of course, there are cultists in Nigeria, but you can hardly, it's not something you just find on the street everywhere. But a certain group of people also become cultists in Nigeria brings a lot of access to the people in the street, and some of these people are called the Agbers. Okay, the word Agbero itself is actually not a bad thing, because Agbero, the English word for it, just means conductor. So also, for example, there's musical conductors, for example, let's say in orchestra and some of those things. So I'm just pointing out this because a lot of people just even hear the word Agbero as a bad. Agbero doesn't mean it's something bad. It just means a conductor. But when the Agberos are the people who really, try to advertise, transportation to public transport back in, let's say, in the 90s and also in, let's say, early 2000s in Nigeria. So this group of people, when some of them get access to cultism, they also introduce it to a lot of their friends. So it spread all over Nigeria transportation system, and it also spread all over Nigeria state by state, city by city, village by village, and everywhere. So now you have cultism every single way, every part of Nigeria, you have this group of people. Okay, and how the politicians use it to their own advantage. Okay, we know Nigerian politicians always want power for themselves. So what most of them did is they look from some certain group of cultists and they employ them and they tell them maybe just to increase their vote, for example, just for them to have more people to vote for them, or maybe just to create some chaos at some, ballot stations. So this is how it become a tool for some of the politicians. And some of these politicians now become friends with a lot of these cultists, and a lot of these cultists also has a lot of power behind them, because basically they are working now, with someone in power. So this is also how the foundation, how cultism becomes one of the biggest problem in Nigeria. It is not the people even who are now cultists, it's the people who exploit them. There is a saying that the worst victim is the victim that used one victim to create another victim. So when you have politicians in these ways and they exploit it, I'm not saying every politician are doing this, but I am 100% sure 85% of them are using cultists as a tool for their election. Anyone who lives in Nigeria, who understand Nigeria, who know the culture of Nigeria, understand what I'm talking about. So this is the reason why cultism itself becomes something super. It's just like a tomatoes. Like when you go to the market, you can just see it everywhere. But back in time, it's not really like that. But it's cultism a good thing? Now this is the end of the conclusion. Cultism, as at the state of Nigeria of today, no, cultism is not a good thing at all, in any way, in any form, because now it's something really, really bad. It's something off. But back in days, is cultism also still a good thing? Again, the answer is no. But it's not used to commit a lot of crime as the way people are using it today, because the way people use it today is just way too much out of hand. And what also caused this, it's also the fault of the Nigerian government, because there is lack of employment. When people don't get a job, the only thing they could think of is to commit a crime. I'm not advocating like someone should use this as an excuse to commit a crime. I'm just pointing this out, how one thing connects to another. If there will be enough of job, for example, if there will be a good electricity, for example, if the people don't have to go, let's say 6, 7, 8, 9 hours before they could feed themselves, we won't have all this problem. So the people to be responsible for all this cultism problem are actually not only Nigerian citizens. 90% of it go to the Nigerian government. So if anyone in Nigerian government can see this, you are responsible. You are responsible to make sure you provide the best interest for your citizen. It's not about using them to exploit the politics, all in the name of, yeah, we are in power, don't worry, machine means I will do something for you when I'm in power. So now this is how it becomes a problem. And now it's not only politicians even that use cultists as, a tool anymore, because there are also international companies and international organizations that use cultists within Nigeria to operate and protect their businesses. So it's something, we are talking of something really big and bigger here. And the problem also hits unemployment. So who is to blame for unemployment? You cannot blame all Nigerian citizens for unemployment. Of course, some people will have more, some people will have less. But if the government itself really do the right thing, create a good infrastructure, at least give people that very basics of life, having electricity 24 hours. People pay for it, And so this is how cultism become the biggest problem in Nigeria. So because it's used now by the government, not only by the people. So the government also are responsible for the cultism problem in Nigeria, state after state, city after city. So thank you guys, thank you very much, thanks for watching this video. If you really do enjoy this video, please don't forget to press the subscribe button, and also don't forget to press the notification bell, so every single time I upload a new video and a new content, you come by, you check it out, you see what's new. But until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.